What's going on, everybody? Wilson here, your spiritual hype man. I'm super happy to be back, and I am super excited to be back on this. We are creating a set now. We are going to be adding video as well, as far as some of the podcasts go. Again, it's just like life. It's ever growing, right? So we're just going to keep doing this. Maybe at some point I'll have like a real mic stand, but either way, I appreciate you guys for listening. So if you guys want to watch the videos, there's a couple ways that you can figure it out. We can go to YouTube, NCUID, look for NCUID, Spiritual Hype Man, on Instagram. We're going to start growing that as well. So thank you guys for continuing to listen. I appreciate you guys. And thanks for, let's see, how many cities? Just for everybody's sake here, we're going to look at some of the stats as far as where people are listening to. And so we have 63 countries and territories and 492 cities. So thank you so much for that. That is awesome. It's like great positive reinforcement. So I appreciate you guys. Keep crushing it. And don't forget, this is a place where we talk about changing things that we change in our lives to just get better at the things that we do, emotionally, physically, mentally, and really just, share some of these stories throughout life. I feel like it's important. And that's it. That's my calling. I know that that's my calling, is to help people feel good about themselves, to be that spiritual hype man for people. And I'm super excited to be here doing that for you. So I hope you like the set. For today's episode, for any new listeners out there, Nothing Changes Until You Do is really just a philosophy. It's the thought. It's the practice of understanding what outcomes that we are not happy with, and then reverse engineering and understanding that there are things that we can change in certain situations, right? Life is somewhat cyclical. If we continue doing the same thing, we get the same outcome. So in order to get a different outcome, we just have to do a couple of things, make a couple different decisions. And so for today's episode, I do want to talk about one thing that it was my aha moment. And the aha moment, at the end of the day, and again, I think we get to these aha moments through actually having some sort of thought, or at least intention, in terms of what we're doing or how we're doing it. And so for me, here's the aha moment. At the end of the day, okay, at the end of life, there's really only two things that are going to happen. One, death is inevitable, right? So it's absolutely going to happen. If we get the opportunity to die peacefully, or die at our deathbed, or die at some point where we're conscious enough to understand these two things, there's only two things that are going to go. That's only going to happen, or that's going to cross our brain or our mind at that moment. And that would be, one, yes, I enjoyed my life. Yes, I fulfilled my life. Yes, I did what I wanted to do. And yes, it was everything I wanted. My life is great. And then you die. Or the second choice to that, or the second option, is like, I wish I would have. That's it. I wish I would have. That's it. Death is inevitable, and then you have one or two things coming to you. You either look back, reflect, and you're like, wow, that was a ride. I was happy with what I did. I'm happy with the effort I put out. I lived. I went and traveled. Whatever that is to you. I don't know, became the chess master of the world. Like, whatever that is to you, right? In terms of what is internally inside for you that keeps pulling at you, like, do that, right? Do that. Because I feel like that those are the only two things that we're going to have a thought before we die. And the thought is, yes, I love my life. Yes, I lived it. Yes, it was beautiful. Yes, I really fucking lived my life the way I wanted to live it and do the things I wanted to do. Or number two is like, I wish I would have. I wish I would have, and then you die. And that's the worst ending, right? That's got to be the worst ending. Like, right before you die, if you have the ability to think consciously, is, I wish I would have done more with my life. And I think that's it. Like, then there's so many people, like, if you look at, obviously, like, our fucking history, whatever history we believe in, like, there's tons of fucking people in the world, and tons of fucking people died, and we're only here for a fraction of our life. I thought about this recently, and that's what it was, because, like, recently, like, I've had certain situations where Patty and I just had to really get together and talk about certain things, because it was just like, okay, what do we want to do with our lives? So, like, if we're not happy in this moment, like, we've progressed, right? We've progressed from where Patty and I both started. Together, we've progressed. And yet we still sort of, there's still some sort of lack of like, man, I wish there was more. And so the question for me was like, okay, what more of what? Like, is it money? Like, is it like, obviously money, like, right? Money is great because money, you can just go fucking do whatever you want and really live it, right? Like, you can go live whatever the fuck you want. But I've seen, and most recently I've seen people like on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, especially YouTube, where, you get these crazy videos of people doing, obviously very expensive things, which is great. And it's awesome if you can afford it and stuff like that. But yet the person is still like, they haven't gotten to the Jedi mind master, right? They haven't become a Jedi mind master yet. So they've gotten all this super success in one vertical, but yet all these other verticals of life, in terms of just self appreciation and the relationships around, and what's a non-negotiable, what's not, in terms of what we're doing. Because again, I think a lot of people go through, especially athletes. Like, think about it, like athletes or anybody that like grew up in a way that didn't have a lot of money, but then all of a sudden you have a lot of money, and then all of a sudden you got family and friends that like, they're like, hey, can we get some of that, or can we just be part of your tribe sort of thing and take care of us? I've seen a lot of that, right? Like, as far as how people take care of other people when they make it. But yet I feel like there's sometimes a certain level of like resentment, or like a certain level of like, look what I can do and look what you're not doing, or vice versa, or even just like a level of where like the family thinks it's like automatically like, or the people closest to you, it doesn't have to be necessarily family, but the people closest to you sort of automatically fall within this like, I know you'll take care of me sort of thing. So I saw that in a video, in like a YouTube video where, they're in Monaco, they're watching F1, but there's some nuances there with, and again, this is only based on the edit, right? So like, it could have been the editor's fault, but I think I'm pretty good at like, I would say I'm very good at understanding what people are feeling, how they're feeling based on certain nuances, right? It's just a human emotion. And I think if you were to fucking give me an award, I would be one of the top dogs in human understanding and emotion, and I guess intuition, right? I'm like, I would say 89 to 90, I would say in the 90 category, I would say, for my intuition. And sometimes it's funny because I don't even fucking listen to it. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, my intuition is saying something, but I'm just not I'm gonna do the complete opposite. And so I've started actually not doing, I've started listening to my intuition, is what it is. And I think that's actually has also helped me with a bunch of stuff mentally. I would say mentally for sure. And then just like reinforcing confidence. And I feel like a lot of us, that's something that like is like a big issue. Not an issue, but sometimes a big thing that lacks in order to like keep moving you forward in the direction you want to go to. It's like confidence. If you don't get the good job, hooray, and that's something you need as the individual, it's very tough to do that, especially if you're only doing it by yourself. But I think for me, it's like personally, I think it's good to appreciate your own shit, right? So I've also spent time sort of writing down, journaling, and we've talked about this before. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I'm on a consistent everyday journaling binger, but I think more often than not, at least writing something down or talking some sort of affirmation to increase your confidence, or say, man, you fucking did it. Like, look at all these things that you've done. Everyone started somewhere, and everyone has done something that they can feel proud of. And I think it's reinforcing those things and then really asking yourself, like, what are those things that I am good at? And let me continue doing them, because that's what we do. That's just like human, that's the human race for years and years to come. So, okay, going back to the point, I just want to reinforce the fact that there's one thing that is inevitable other than taxes. But of course, if you have a good CPA, shout out to my CPA, Chris Coker, LCI taxes. There's really only one inevitable thing that's going to happen. One inevitable thing, and that's death. No matter what, we're all gonna die. And for me, like I said, the only thing that I want to do is when I die is I say, you know what, my life was well lived. I enjoyed it. I did everything I wanted to do, and I did it, and I actually lived. Like, to me, I want to say, yeah, I fucking lived, emphasis in lived my life. Like, I absolutely lived my life. And that's it. And so from that aha moment, or again, the latter, which I absolutely don't want to do, is look back and be regretful and regret my life, or say I should have, could have, would have. And I think that's it. Those are the only two things on the macro level, right? On the macro level of things, I think those are the only two things that, like, we really need to focus on. Like, we make our decisions around the macro level and then bring it into the micro. So the macro is, okay, I want to make sure I live my life the way I want. I want to live my life, right? Emphasis on live. And then now, what is the decision am I making next? And then have that be part of your influence. So, right? Influence, thought, emotion, action, decision, outcome. So influence, thought, emotion, action, which is your decision, and then an outcome. I was testing myself there for a minute. Did you forget? Fuck, my brain. But yeah, so that's it. So that was my big aha moment, and I hope it helps. I hope it hits home. I hope it's something that you can, I think for me, it's you got to continue keeping that thought like in the forefront, right? Keeping that thought in the forefront as far as like, wow, that really is it. I don't think I'm saying anything illogical. I think it's actually the truth that we're all going to die. And at some point it's going to be one of two things. If we have enough conscious and awareness around what's happening in that moment, it's like, one, I lived my fucking life. I love it. You're dead. Or fuck, I should have done X, and then you're dead. So which one is it? What do you want? What do you want to do when you come, to that moment? And I would leave you with one more piece. Is just really to think about, the numbers, right? So the numbers, and I had this conversation with Patty, because obviously Patty's a little bit wiser than me in terms of years. But I said to her, I was like, look, if we look at US's numbers of, fucking longevity in terms of what most people live to, you only have about this much. I have like this much. You have like this much. And obviously our goal is to like equate that, like be equal when we die, right? Like I don't want to live longer, and I also don't want to like live. I don't want to live less, right? Like that would be absolutely. I would rather live longer, and I think that's the truth for both of us. I don't know. We'd have to ask Patty and get Patty in here. We'd have to get Patty in here and have her as our first guest on our first podcast setup here. But I would just say, like I told her, I was like, look, we don't necessarily have that much time. Like we think it's a lot, but it's really not. It's like less than how old your oldest kid is, So if you think about it and in terms of that, like, yeah, we're going to be here every day for the next, 20, 30 years. But that's not a lot of time, man. That's not a lot of time. The younger you are, the better. Awesome, good for you. And and it's good that you like. If you're younger than half your age, right, in terms of life expectancy, then you have. It's almost like compound interest. It's always the financial thing. It's like if you fucking, saved and compounded interest when you were 18 or 12 or 14 years old, which we should have done, and I've heard it back then, and I fucking didn't. So here's two things. Start saving your money, compound interest, but then ultimately just really realize how long do you actually have, statistically speaking, right? I think it's like 76 or 78 or something like that. It's not that fucking long. It's not that long to however old you are, depending on how old you are and listening. So two things. Figure out what that is. Figure out if you're listening in one of these other countries in the U.S., because obviously we are, what did I say again? 63 countries and territories. 63. That's more than 50% of total countries, I think, right? I would say. Yeah, or maybe just right there on the cusp, but which is huge. So thank you guys again for listening. Figure out what your life expectancy is, and then really decide what do you want to do when you die. Do you want to, love the life you lived and know that life was worth living, or to be regretful? Like that's it. Those are the only two things that are happening. So figure that out. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening. I hope it's a aha moment. Stay connected, guys. Please follow us on YouTube. If you're a YouTube kind of person, you can watch this. We're going to have guests. We're going to have a couple other things that we're going to do on the beach, which is going to be fun. All these things are actually going to be really, really good. We're just going to keep growing it and keep spreading the word, the philosophy, the thought, the methodology of nothing changes until you do. Hope you guys are happy. If you're not, just remember it's all temporary. It's all the thoughts in our head. Keep crushing it. Just change the thoughts in your head. Do it something with a prompt. Do something physical. Take a shower. God damn, please. Take an ice bath, then take a shower. Treat yourself to a massage or something. Do something beautiful for yourself. Go love yourself, and we'll talk to you guys again on the next one. And don't forget, nothing changes until you do. Peace.